So much has happened already this weekend in Montreal. Unfortunately, me and Yosemite Sam can't be here to go over it anymore. Anyway, there's been a few upgrades that we wanted to show you about before we pass on to Phil to show us some more. Yosemite, take it away!
Welcome to VFL.
Thank you, Lou and Andy, for that fantastic intro. Those of you who aren't from the UK, well, you may or may not know who Lou and Andy are, but yeah, I know. Let's get cracking with the show. Welcome to View from Lovefield. It is currently 10:35 UK time. Please forgive me if I sound a little bit silent. I can't shout too loud because I have a 4-year-old child who sometimes likes sleep, sometimes doesn't like sleep. So I have to keep it as low as I can. Canada, a full sprint weekend. We've had it all today, haven't we? Well, I say we've had it all. I could probably say up until lap 29, we had it 2 Mercedes that were going at each other. Don't ask me what else happened within that part of the race, because I honestly couldn't tell you, to be honest with you, because Sky Sports were showing just the wheel-to-wheel action from both Mercedes, and it has been fantastic. And if there's one thing we can take from these new regulations, now unfortunately, I won't be able to go into the detail as much as Lou and Andy or Ant and Phil, as we know them as, can do, because I'll be honest with you, I'm not as technically minded as what them two are. But I'm just here for the fun. I'm just here for the enjoyment. And if them new regulations are a sign of wheel-to-wheel racing, that showed it today, in my opinion. Because them two Mercedes for 29 laps were constant. They were at each other's throats, wheel to wheel. Antonelli would lock up, Russell would lock up, same again, vice versa, and it was constant. It was absolutely constant, and it was brilliant to watch. And that's what we want. If you think back to last year when myself, Andy and Lou did, or Ant and Phil, I can't keep calling them Andy and Lou now, won't I? When myself, Andy and Lou did a review of the 2026 regulations, I seem to recall all 3 of us finishing the show by saying, we just want more wheel-to-wheel racing, and that has given it us all. It was brilliant. It was really good. So just going off topic a little bit as well, what I would like to say, I've got my laptop open, I've got some notes because my memory can be quite shocking, especially this time at night. I want to come away from Formula One for 1 second and go to F1 Academy. And I want to give a huge shout out to our hometown hero, Alicia Palmowski. Not only did she win the main race today in the wet, she won it by 10.9 seconds. 10.9. That's huge. What a win, Alicia. Bring it home. That is absolutely fantastic. So, going back to the Formula One, I feel like Mercedes and McLaren have swapped strategies today. Not Mercedes and McLaren, sorry. I feel like McLaren and Ferrari have swapped strategies today. More the people behind the scenes. That was a bit meh, weren't it? As Ant would say. So just starting before the race, I don't know if anybody clocked Karun Chan's sort of sky pad, but so before we got going, the track today was 16 degrees at the track temperature, so it was 25 degrees cooler than yesterday for the sprint race and for qualifying. So an hour build up, it's going at Montreal, and then obviously it starts to rain, the rain's coming in, and then before you know it, both McLarens have come out on intermediates. Just look down my glasses a little bit there. Why? Very, very, very strange strategy call that. Almost to the point where I did think Ferrari had taken over at McLaren for like a bring your friend to work day sort of thing. It didn't make any sense. It didn't add up. So of course the race then got underway. Well, eventually it got underway. So we had 3 formation laps. The main reason is because Limlad, he couldn't get his car into gear, so he's stuck in his pit box. One thing I did find very, very strange is after the first formation lap, he'd got his car stuck, so then they went for a second one. But then the second formation lap, they were still pushing Limlad's car off the track. There were stewards on the track, and the cars were still coming down into their grid position. Found that very strange. I'm surprised the FIA didn't call them down to the pit lane, but I suppose it depends how many beers the FIA have had before the race today, doesn't it? Because sometimes their inconsistency can be a little bit all over the place. So both McLaren's on the intermediates, okay, right, and then you're sitting there thinking, right, okay, what's going to happen here? And then Norris makes a storming start, which clearly the intermediates are warming up better than the soft tyres. That's where it went a bit wrong after that, isn't it? Yeah, the less that we probably say about this now is probably the better. Oscar Piastri was crying out all throughout the formation laps that you need to pit us, you need to pit us, you need to pit us. So eventually lap 1, Piastri comes into the pit. Lap 2, Norris comes into the pits. You sort of feel like it was set up for a fall really from that point. Starting on the inters. Right now I'd love to be a fly on the wall in that debrief, because I bet there are some heads rolling right now. Because whoever made the weather call won't be signing yourself up for Granada reports anytime soon, will you? So I'll just go back to my notes now. Let's have a look here now. Start that again. Lap 6, Kimi Antonelli nearly takes out his teammate. And that was the beauty of the wheel-to-wheel between the two of them. George would lock up one lap, and then Kimi would go wide on the other, and then George would lock up again, and it was constant. But lap 6, that work, just coming down to the final corner before the Wall of Champions, and he very, very nearly run into the back of George there. That was dangerous. Could have been a lot worse, but still, they kept it under control. And then, obviously, of course, we move into lap 29, and what I will say now, before obviously made my notes, before I did all this, I did make a note here, and I said lap 29 that George Russell's retired. By the way, he had a massive paddy, by the way. I can already see Phil laughing his you-know-what off at the moment in his night out, because that was just, that was a paddy and a half. And he might get a penalty for that. Maybe not a points penalty or anything, but he might get a fine for it, is the word I'm using. And one thing I did note on my notes was, could Mercedes have prevented that? Obviously, just before I'd heard the replay of, I think Martin Brundle described it as a car like a bag of spanners. He just had a complete loss of power. A complete loss of power to the point where, that it was. But up until that point, like I keep saying, lap 29, it was just wheel to wheel. I like Kimi Antonelli. I'm not going to lie. The only thing I will say is, I think he's got everything. He's got the pedigree to be a world champion. My concern is, does Kimi Antonelli stop Kimi Antonelli from being a world champion? Because he's very emotional, and I think that's the Italian in him. And I think if you meet an Italian person, they are very over emotional. They're very, very passionate people. He's got a cooler. He has got probably arguably the best race engineer to support him and back him in Pete Bonington, and he's got to listen to Bono. A couple of times this weekend, if we go, I know we've had a sprint race. Unfortunately, I can't talk too much about the sprint race because I didn't see it, but I did see some of the highlights, and I saw Antonelli crying out on the radio for his teammate to get a penalty, and obviously Toto Wolff radioing in and speaking to him, telling him to calm it. And that's the bit with Kimi Antonelli where sometimes experience comes in hand. Now he's in a position. Now, sometimes what you've got to remember is he's doing all this for the first time. He's never been in this position in his life where he's fighting for a championship. So yeah, is he going to be the reason why he stops himself from winning the championship? Because of his temperament, because of his moods sometimes. I know you can get caught up in the moment. We all can in our everyday life. You can sometimes get caught up in the moment and you start shouting and screaming, but he's just got to cool it. He's just got to calm down. And the people that sponsor Mercedes, they're not going to want one Mercedes driver hearing him call for the other driver to take a penalty, as he was in the sprint race. So Toto Wolff has got a lot to consider there, and he's got to manage the mindset of Kimi Antonelli, but he certainly is showing everything. Certainly when he's behind the wheel, he's up there in a class of his own sometimes. And obviously after today with winning the race, he's now, I think, is it 4 races in a row? It's something that I think it said that no driver's ever done. So there's pedigree there, but he's just got to watch his mind, and he's just got to watch what he's saying on team radio, because you don't air your dirty laundry, and certainly he's got to be careful from there. Today we've had the penalty king, Isaac Hadjar. Not the best of days there, I don't think. 10-second time penalty for I wouldn't even say unnecessary weaving. I'd say very dangerous weaving on the back straight, almost pushing Leclerc off, and that could have been a dangerous crash. That so he picked up a 10-second penalty. Then shortly after, he had a yellow flag infringement, which then picked up another 5-second penalty. So his day has probably not been the greatest for that. But are we starting to see signs of the the second Red Bull curse, especially with today, with Max finishing on the podium? And I want to talk about that as well. I want to talk about the racing between Max and Lewis for second and third. We had sniffs of that season we all want to forget, 2021. But again, going back to what I was saying at the beginning, it is very, very wheel-to-wheel action, and it's great. And I know we've had a very, very short season this season, but it's brilliant to watch. You might be thinking, well, this man sat here in a papaya t-shirt and he's not spoke about the Norris DNF yet. Well, yeah, there's a reason for that. we won't go too much. We won't dive too much into that one. But all in all, I think it's been a shocking day for McLaren, and it started with that strategy call of starting on the intermediates when everybody around you is starting on the softs. So and then back to George Russell's retirement. That was quite interesting stat there. It's his first retirement since Silverstone 24. He won't be happy. But which way are Mercedes going now in terms of their number one driver? Who is there now? Dave will say that George is always going to be number one. In fact, actually, Dave passed comment in the group chat today whilst we were watching the race live. So, yeah, that's going to be fun to see, isn't it? Forgive me if I sound like I'm rambling on a little bit here. So I don't have the technical mindset, like I said, of the two chaps that already do this. But Yeah, it's set up nicely, isn't it? I don't see much from our boys in Papaya. It's great to see. It's great to see Lewis Hamilton back on the podium. And I want to comment as well, because I totally agree with Lewis. If anybody saw Lewis's press conference on Thursday, Lewis mentioned about people are trying. He feels like people are trying to retire him, and I agree with him. Why there's so many people talking about Lewis Hamilton finishing in Formula One and packing it in. Why are you talking about that? Like, can we just enjoy what he's doing? Like, can we just enjoy the position he's now getting? I mean, he for me, he's my VFL driver of the day today. He has not put a foot wrong, and he has got that car purring like a Cheshire cat. It's been quite refreshing. I sit here in Papaya, but it's been a very, very refreshing thing to see, and it's set up nicely. And then I just want to talk about a favourite of the VFL channel, Colapinto. P6 for Franco Colapinto. I think there was a start. I mean, it's not about Alpine in general. They're finding something, and they're finding something with that Mercedes engine, and it's working for them. Being, obviously putting more resources into their car and not being an engine manufacturer seems to be paying dividend for them at the moment. And yeah, that Alpine is working. I think one of the stats was showing before that Pierre Gasly picked up the highest speed in the speed trap this weekend, this race. So yeah, Matt, it's set up nicely. So yeah, Kimi Antonelli wins the race. Lewis Hamilton in second. Max Verstappen in third. I don't think any of us expected Max to be on the top step, or on the third step, should I say. But great battle between him and Lewis. And if you get the chance to go back, and if you've not already watched it, if you get the chance to go back and watch that, then please do so, because you'll enjoy that one. And yeah, miserable day for George Russell, miserable day for Lando Norris. And it's all set up nicely for Kimi Antonelli, providing he keeps his cool, in my opinion. But right now, the momentum's with Antonelli, and moving into the next race, which is very unprofessional of me because I can't actually remember what the next race is. But I will find it. But yeah, very, very, very good. I'm gonna keep it brief because I can't ramble on too much, because I want to keep you entertained and we want to keep you here. No Ant versus Phil this week, because they've both decided to bugger off and a B-no. So I think the VFL viewers will rightly say that it's a default win for Phil. But then having seen that, we could do with your help on Ant versus Phil, because we gave the punishment of Ant to Rocker Tash on the last episode of previous year, and he's kept it. I don't think any of us expected him to keep it, so we need something that's probably a little bit more on the bone, should we say? So keep your eyes posted. Thank you for listening to me ramble on for 20 minutes or so. It's not an easy job, this, I'll be totally honest with you. Trying to think about what to say and trying to keep it fun and keep it entertaining. It's quite a difficult job, but Canada, yeah, just to summarise, Canada was that was fun. It was fun. And races, as we go into some of the more racier tracks, like Silverstone, I can't wait to see these regulations in Silverstone this year, because these cars can follow. These cars know how to overtake. I still have to agree with the boys that I don't think, still don't think F1 is the pinnacle of motorsport at the moment. There's a lot of electricity, a lot of... It's not based around an engine, it's based around electricity power. So we'll just have to wait and see what happens. But for the meantime, the football's finished now for anybody who likes football. So we can, we can focus and find a pub more often on the Formula One. Thanks for watching. Thanks for listening. I hope the boys have had a good night. I hope I've served you well. I hope I've done you proud. And until next time here at VFL, thank you very much. And I'll probably best to say a very, very good night.